A day of fun with friends has left a young woman in the hospital fighting this flesh-eating bacteria. The Florida A&M University Marching Band will not be heading back to the field this year. The university's president says the band's here at HLN. I'm Christi Paul. A 24-year-old woman is facing some really serious health consequences after an accident exposed her to a flesh-eating bacteria. Amy give you a sneak peek at some of the other stories we're working on for you today. One woman's trip to the store became a 70. But let's first talk about John Edwards' defense lawyers. They started their case today in the former presidential candidate's corruption trial. CNN's Joe Johns reports on the witnesses that the defense could put on the stand. Thank you to CNN Joe Johns there reporting. Edward faces 6 felony counts, including conspiracy and making false statements. He's pled not guilty, but I want to bring attorney Michael Barnes in. Friday, you will be able to buy stock in Facebook. You may be asking yourself, well, how do I get in? Well, you do have a shot if you have an E-Trade account, first of all. But the real question is, should you? Lots of risks that you're not hearing about. Here is arguably the world's smartest investor on this. So let me ask you, would you pay to be more popular on Facebook? Well, you can give it a try. Facebook's testing an option called Highlight. It lets you pay a few dollars to have one of your posts appear to more friends. Right now, only about 12% of your friends see your status updates. I didn't realize that, did you? Facebook said we're constantly... A woman spent 3 days trapped in her wrecked car, surviving on rainwater and soda. Veronica McFoy and people at the Arizona Republican Party convention didn't want to hear what Mitt Romney's son had to say. In fact, they booed him. People talking about this, too. Newsweek magazine's new cover. Now, the president is expected to talk more about same-sex marriage this afternoon at an LGBT fundraiser hosted by Ricky Martin, and that's in New York. Okay, the next time you unbuckle your belt right after eating a big meal, consider this. A new study says it only takes 3 hours for the fat you eat to travel your waistline. Researchers found... All right, here's a little more about what we're following at HLN today. The father of missing girl Isabel Celis there. Saturday Night Live had some fun with President Obama's big announcement supporting same-sex marriage, and they fired some zingers about Time Magazine's controversial cover photo. You know the one I'm talking about, the mother and a son. Wasn't the news A&M University's marching band wanted to hear. The decision about the band's future announced... A young Utah father is facing the reality that his 1-year-old daughter will grow up without him. He's fighting ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and he's working really hard to create memories that will fill the gaps after he's gone. Nkoyo Yayamba, with affiliate KSL, shares his story with us. Oh, what an extraordinary man. May is Muscular Dystrophy Awareness Month, and the National Association will feature Ben and Jenna's story with readers online throughout the month. Our thanks again to KSL for that story, and certainly thoughts and prayers to that family. Okay, you know, a man scrubbed toilets, picked up trash for 19 years, but he was also hitting the books. We're going to give you some news from the political arena that's just coming into us right now. Moments ago, defense lawyers started their case today in the former presidential candidate's corruption trial. 6 felony counts, including conspiracy and making false statements. He's pled not guilty. Well, the Florida... I want to give you a look at some of the stories we're working on here. First of all, a horrific discovery right now, though, about this 24-year-old woman who's facing very serious health consequences after an accident exposed her to a flesh-eating bacteria. You heard Amy's dad there say the family looks past the suffering and focuses on Amy's accomplishments, as small as they may be. So you might be wondering, how does a family stay so positive in the face of such a frightening illness? I want to bring in clinical psychologist. I want to touch on how do you filter... not necessarily politically correct, but how do you filter people? Defense attorney Jose Baez talks exclusively with Dr. Drew about his new book, detailing what really happened behind the scenes during Casey Anthony's trial. He says he has Casey's blessing to tell all. Jose Baez takes viewer phone calls. This is tonight. He's taking calls about anything and everything live tonight. Check it out. Cops in Fort Lee, New Jersey, are ticketing people for texting while walking. But, you know, could the folks in... Let me ask you this. This is a different one. Could the folks in Fort Lee actually be onto something? We've seen what happens to some people who text while walking, right? Remember, man scrubbed toilets, picked up trash for 19 years, but he was hitting the books the entire... Well, Facebook is on track to become a publicly traded company this Friday, and it's expected to be a popular stock when it does. So if you're looking for maybe just one ceremonial share of Facebook? You can do that on websites like giveashare.com. The site's founder says people not normally involved in the stock market are interested in Facebook's IPO, and some sites will even offer paper stock certificates. Now, speaking of the site, a new website is tracking how often Facebook might lead to divorce. FacebookCheating.com lets people share stories and warnings. A group of Boston lawyers says many divorce attorneys now use social media evidence in court. Some feuding couples uncover hidden trash talk online. Others find evidence of affairs through friends of friends as well. Okay, let's get to some happy stuff. A janitor spent years cleaning bathrooms and scrubbing floors so he could earn a college degree from an Ivy League school. Chris Raggi with affiliate WCBS brings you this story of a man determined to learn. He got his bachelor's degree yesterday and says eventually he'd like to be a teacher. Best of luck to him, and thanks to WCPS reporter Chris Raggi for the story there. Really, what on earth could possibly make a hot dog cost almost $2,000? And one of those, are you kidding me? A man in Arkansas just sold the world's most expensive hot dog. Look at that. Newsweek magazine making a splash with its new cover, calling... The president's expected to talk more about same-sex marriage this afternoon at an LGBT fundraiser hosted by Ricky Martin in New York. You know, you're soon going to hear the Secret Service director testify about the alleged prostitution scandal, excuse me. Senate committee hearing is set for next Wednesday, and Secret Service agents and U.S. a gruesome discovery on a major highway in Mexico just 80 miles south of the U.S. border. The mutilated remains. President Calderon announced a crackdown on drug cartels back in 2006, but since then, more than 47,000 people have been killed in drug-related violence in Mexico. And a massive manhunt, meanwhile, is underway near Burbank, California, for a missing FBI agent. Sippy cups, bottles, and pacifiers could hurt your little ones, at least when those little ones start walking. A new study found one child every 4 hours is treated in the emergency room for injuries involving those items, and in most cases, the child fell and the cup or the pacifier slammed into their mouth or their head. So experts suggest, obviously, get your child in the habit of drinking while sitting down rather than walking, especially as toddlers. They're not walking so well anyway, right? Listen to this one. Someday your sports bra could call your doctor if you're having heart problems. Scientists are also working on a vest for men that would do the same thing. This is what they